If you came across this video because you think that your life isn't interesting enough to make videos about, then let me stop you right here. The reality is, you don't need to be living an action-packed adventure or constantly doing something extraordinary for your story to matter. Sometimes the most captivating moments are the little ones. The magic isn't in living a cinematic life, it's in making everyday life feel cinematic. Capturing those seemingly insignificant details with emotion, thought, and care can breathe life into your story. So stop with that mentality. It's doing more harm than good, trust me. You are interesting, your thoughts are interesting, and you might think that you have nothing to film. But the truth is, you can turn anything into a beautifully crafted visual story if you put a little thought and effort into it. There was a time a few years back where whenever I would open up my Instagram app or YouTube analytics, I would have this deep sadness and a thought in my mind that said, "You are not interesting enough. No one cares about your content because your life is boring." And I felt like I couldn't make great things without going someplace and doing something. But despite what you might see on all those social media apps, you don't need to be living this super luxurious life filled with travel and cliff diving in order to make great videos. Story beats stage every time, and you can beautifully craft a story through empowering words and beautiful visuals without ever leaving your neighborhood. And I'm gonna show you how. Good narration and a strong script can make all the difference. I mean, you just watch me cut up an apple and go to the park. When explained like that, not very exciting, but if you're watching this, you're still here. So what is that? What happened? So let's just jump onto my computer and we're gonna break it down. Let's talk about your message and your script and the types of content that you could be making with your script. So for me, I like to explain it as something is either inspiring. Oh my God, you're gonna see so many friggin' typos. Okay, inspiring, valuable, or entertaining. People elsewhere have explained it as educational, empowering, entertaining, or engaging. Either way, same difference. You are either doing one or the other, or trying to convey all three of them in one video. And that's something that you need to keep in mind when you're building your script. And some questions that you can ask yourself to help you decide exactly what to say or what topic to choose are: what lessons have I learned that I wish others would have talked about? For this video in particular, I remember going through those moments where I would think, I'm not interesting. And it was actually a pretty tough thought to deal with. I want to talk about it to help other people get out of the trenches, because I can't be the only one who has ever had that thought because of social media. Another thing is, what do I know how to do that I can teach others? So this video kind of combos a message that's inspiring but also educational, because I want you to feel inspired to not feel like you're boring, but I also want to teach you how to get the foundations of making your script and also figure out what it is you're going to film. So that's something that I can teach you how to do. Another question is, what perspective do I want to see more of in the world? And this might be kind of a big question and kind of deep, because are you trying to change the world with your videos? I hope so. I mean, what's the point in putting out a bunch of stuff if you're not trying to make a difference in the world? And I think one strong thing about art and spoken word and visuals is that you can open up the minds of others. Another question to ask yourself when writing the script is, what is the tone of this video? Is it sad? Is it happy? Is it inspiring? Is it angry? Is it like a, you better get your butt off the couch and do something today? Or is it a gentle, hey, you should do something today? You know, something like that. Gotta figure out the tone of the video. And lastly, how do I want people to feel and think when they leave this video? Like I said earlier, if you're not making it to make an impact, then why make it at all? Because you want your viewer to watch this and either learn something or feel something or think something because of what you created. And going into it thinking, how do I want this person to feel when they walk away from this, really helps build the foundations of your script and the overarching message of it. So that's kind of the starting point. That's how you figure out what it is you're going to make and what overall feeling it's going to have. Now, when it comes to the actual script and making it interesting, honestly, a lot of it is up to you and your own message, because I can't write a message that you're going to write, but I will say one thing that is important is the hook. And that's the only thing I'm going to tell you about today is the hook. So if you don't know what a hook is, it's essentially the first 10 to 15 seconds of your video. And for this, I'm talking about YouTube. If you're on Instagram or something, then it's like the first 2 seconds of your video. So what are some ways to make the first 10 to 15 seconds of your video interesting with your script alone? First, you can ask a question. Second, you can hint at the value that is to come. Third, you can hit a nerve. And when I say that, I mean in a good way. Kinda. And the reason why I say kinda is because this video's opening is an example of hitting a nerve in a good way, because I open up with, if you are on this video because you think your life isn't interesting enough to make great videos, then I'm gonna stop you right there. And that's my hook, because as someone who has had that thought, if I was watching a video and it said that, I would want to continue watching, because yeah, I have had that thought. Even though I hit a nerve, it wasn't like I'm gonna make something hateful to rile you up to get you to keep watching. I mean, some people do that, but not really my style, you know? But those are some ways that you can kind of draw them in. And that is the hook. So you go in with the hook, bring in your message based on the answers to the question that you asked yourself, and then we get to the fun part, the visuals. Before we talk visuals, I would like to remind you to hit that subscribe button if you are new here and you are on a creative journey. If you become a Voyager today, you can expect videos about creativity, photography, videography, and just inspiring content. Let's be real. But every once in a while, I also do some gear reviews to help you get the equipment you need to achieve your dreams as a creative soul. And yeah, let's just dive back into the video now. So I'm going to show you an exercise for visuals. However, one thing I would like to mention is that one of the simplest things you could do for visuals once you have your script is to show what you are telling. So if your script mentions that you have been hard at work on your computer editing, then get some clips of you hard at work on your computer editing. And this is a really easy way to go about things. However, if your script is a little bit more abstract and doesn't really have flat out actions like that, then that's when it might get a little bit harder. But I've come to learn that you can pretty much put any kind of B-roll over any kind of script and narration, and it'll work. Somehow it'll work. And if you watch things on Netflix, that are like documentaries and stuff, kind of pay attention to the B-roll that they use for narration, and you'll be like, huh, like this doesn't really show exactly what they're talking about verbatim, but it works. So that's what the exercise that I'm gonna tell you about is gonna help you with, because you might think I don't do anything and I have nothing to record because I don't have any plans or anything like that. But trust me, you can find something to record. And let's jump into that exercise. Step 1 of this exercise is to write down things that you do. They don't have to be fun things. They don't have to be extraordinary or exciting or even things that you like to do, just things that you do. And examples would be, I watch Netflix, I clean, I drink wine, I cook, I go on walks, I don't know, what else do? I get ready for bed, or I go to sleep. That sounds, everyone goes to sleep, right? Yeah, so just write down a list of things that you do. Anything, any kind of task. Step 2 is to pick a task and then write down all the small actions that lead you to the main action. So I'm gonna pick drink wine. And when you think about it, when you drink a glass of wine doesn't just magically appear like that. So what actions did I take to get myself a glass of wine? So before I had my glass of wine, I needed to get a bottle of wine. So I had to drive to the grocery store. In order to drive to the grocery store, I had to get into my car. And before I got into my car, I had to unlock it. And in order to unlock it, I had to find my keys. And once I was at the grocery store, I had to go to the wine aisle. I had to pick a wine. And then I had to get back in my car. Well, actually, I had to pay for it first, you know? Pay for it. I had to get back in my car, drive back home. I had to get inside my house. Then I had to find the wine opener. I had to open the wine bottle. I had to get a glass. And then I had to pour the wine. And then I was able to enjoy the wine. All these actions came from one thing that I like to do, which is drink wine. There was a bunch of steps that took place in order for me to get to the point where I got to enjoy my glass of wine. So this seems like a lot of steps. I don't want to use every single one of them. So step 3 is kind of about narrowing it down. All right, so for step 3, we will narrow down the actions and sort out framing techniques. So I have 10 actions, and now I'm gonna figure out how I'd like to frame them. So finding my keys could be a close-up of hand grabbing keys. Getting into the car, kind of want a wide shot showing me getting into the car, driving to the grocery store, and let's just have car leaving house. Wine aisle, I'll figure that out. I'm thinking like a wide shot. Picking a wine would be a cool POV from the shelf. Ooh. Getting inside my house, I can just, let's see, go like that. Wide shot, showing me getting out of the car after it has arrived. All right, finding the wine opener can be an overhead of drawer opening with hand grabbing wine opener. Opening the wine bottle, I'm gonna have a close up, pouring the wine, close up, and enjoying the wine. Let's do a full body. Cool. So now I have an idea of what I'm gonna film and how I'm gonna film it. Sometimes at this point, I will either just lay it out in a shot list, or I would actually storyboard it and draw it all out. And you can do what you want. If you want a storyboard, you can. If not, it's cool. I'm not gonna tell nobody. So yeah, once you have all this, it's time to film it. And one thing I would like to mention in regards to filming is you don't have to stick to the plan. Even though we have things written out, it's kind of just a roadmap and a rough idea of what you want to do. I think that the best ideas come to me when I'm out and about filming and I kind of think of something on the fly. For instance, this POV shot right here wasn't planned, just did it in the moment, and I like how it looks. Of course, there is a whole nother layer to this when it comes to things like editing and sound design. But maybe I'll talk about that in a different video. And with that, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And until next time,